My friends, there is a secret, an ancient principle known by the wisest and practiced by the boldest, that has the power to transform ordinary men into giants and cowards into conquerors. That principle is this: act as if you fear nothing, and soon you will fear nothing. Fear is the great thief. It steals dreams, poisons potential, and imprisons greatness behind invisible walls. But here's the truth, one that millions never come to realize. Fear is a state of mind, and like any state of mind, it can be controlled, redirected, and ultimately replaced. The successful man does not wait for fear to disappear before he takes action. No, he acts even with the trembling in his heart and the uncertainty in his mind. And as he acts, fear begins to vanish. For fear cannot live where faith and decisive action dwell. Now listen closely. When you act as if you fear nothing, you tell your subconscious mind, I am in control. You declare to the world, I am the master of my fate, the captain of my soul. And the subconscious mind, my friends, will believe whatever you feed it, whether truth or fiction, courage or cowardice. So why not feed it with boldness? Why not convince it through action that fear has no place in your life? You must walk into the room as if you belong there. Speak as if your words are gold. Pursue your vision as if failure is impossible. And if your knees shake, let them shake, but move forward anyway. That is not hypocrisy, that is training. That is the practice of greatness, for what is courage if not the decision to move in the face of fear? Repeat to yourself every day, I am fearless in mind, I am fearless in spirit, I am fearless in action. Let it echo through your thoughts until doubt no longer dares to enter. The world bows to the man who has mastered his inner world. And to master the inner world, one must begin with how one acts. Act calm when chaos surrounds you. Act brave when fear claws at your door. Act powerful when the world sees weakness. And soon the act becomes real. Because thought, backed by faith, becomes reality. That is the law. That is the truth. So I leave you with this. Do not wait to become fearless. Act as if you already are. And watch your life change in ways you never dreamed possible. Fear is not real in the way most people believe it to be. It is not a monster lurking under your bed. It is not a tangible force that can tie your hands or stop your feet. No, fear is a state of mind, and like all states of mind, it can be controlled, molded, and ultimately eliminated by the power of thought. Great men and women throughout history have faced what would paralyze the average individual, and yet they moved forward. Not because they were born without fear, but because they learned to dominate it. They understood a timeless truth, that fear is nothing more than the misuse of the imagination. Let that sink in. Fear is the anticipation of pain, loss, rejection, or failure that hasn't happened yet and may never happen. It is mental energy spent on a shadow, a ghost, a possibility. You were not born with fear. You were taught it, conditioned by society, programmed through repeated exposure to limitation, danger, and doubt. But what has been learned can be unlearned. And what has been programmed can be reprogrammed. The mind is the master. It is the control center of your life, and it will believe whatever you repeatedly tell it, whether you speak truth or fiction. If you tell your mind, I am not good enough, it will believe you. If you tell your mind, I am afraid to fail, it will agree. But if you tell your mind with conviction, I am fearless, powerful, and unstoppable, your mind will begin to search for ways to make it true. Thoughts become beliefs. Beliefs shape behavior, and behavior produces results. This is the sequence of power. When you allow fear to dominate your mind, you surrender control of your life. You hand over the steering wheel to uncertainty and let it drive your destiny. You avoid opportunities. You silence your voice. You shrink from challenges, and all the while, life continues on without you, rewarding those who had the courage to act despite their doubts. You must not allow fear to rule your thinking, for when it does, it forms invisible chains. Chains that keep you stuck in places you do not belong. Chains that hold you back from your calling, from your greatness, from the success that could be yours. But here's the liberating truth. You have the power to break those chains. You have the power to recondition your mind, to rewire your thoughts, to replace fear with faith. And you do it the same way all great minds have done it, through decision, through repetition, and through willpower. Make the decision today to see fear for what it is, a mental habit, a conditioned response, a belief that has outstayed its welcome. Then replace it. Drive it out of your mind with new beliefs, bold beliefs. Declare to yourself, I was not born to be ruled by fear. I am the master of my mind and emotions. Fear is a liar, and I refuse to listen to it. Every time I act in the face of fear, I grow stronger. Repeat these truths until they are etched into your subconscious, until they become part of your inner dialogue, until they no longer feel like affirmations but like fact. You must not wait for fear to leave you. It will not on its own. You must evict it. You must override it. You must starve it of the attention it craves. Feed your mind with faith, with vision, with purpose. Do not focus on what could go wrong. Focus on what could go right. Do not dwell on failure. Dwell on the possibility of triumph, on the growth that lies on the other side of risk. For what is life without risk? What is success without daring? The man who fears nothing is not reckless. He is free. He is free because he understands the nature of fear. He knows that fear is a coward. It flees in the presence of action. It weakens in the face of decision. It dies when exposed to truth. You do not need to feel ready. You do not need to have all the answers. You only need to decide that fear no longer belongs in the driver's seat of your life. The moment you make that decision, you begin to reclaim your power, and once you do, the game changes. You speak with more conviction. You walk with more confidence. You pursue opportunities that once seemed out of reach, and soon you realize that the limits you once believed in were never real. They were only thoughts, unchallenged and untested. So test them. Challenge your fears. Push past the comfort zone. Say what needs to be said, do what needs to be done, and act not in fear, but in faith, because fear is a state of mind, and you are its master. Let that truth guide your steps today and every day forward. There is a powerful and eternal truth that separates the dreamers from the doers, the timid from the triumphant, the average from the extraordinary. That truth is this: courage is not the absence of fear. It is action taken in spite of fear. You must understand once and for all that fear is not your enemy. Fear is your signal. It is your teacher. It is the inner voice asking, are you willing to grow? And the only answer it recognizes is action. All progress in life is made by the man who moves forward anyway. Though his heart may pound and his hands may tremble, he puts one foot in front of the other. He speaks when silence feels safe. He steps up when others shrink back. And through this repeated discipline of doing the thing he fears, he builds something far more valuable than comfort. He builds real courage. Now listen closely. Action is the antidote to fear. It is impossible to be consumed by fear when your body is in motion, when your will is engaged, when your focus is locked on purpose. Action transforms fear from a barrier into a bridge. It turns obstacles into stepping stones. It turns hesitation into momentum. You cannot think your way into courage. You must act your way there. The greatest enemy of success is not failure. It is inaction. It is the man who waits for fear to vanish before he moves. He waits for the perfect time. He waits for the voice of doubt to go quiet. He waits and waits until the opportunity has passed him by. And in the silence of his waiting, regret begins to whisper in his ear. But the man who succeeds, the man who builds a life of power and influence, understands that fear is simply a part of the process. He does not wait for confidence. He does not wait for certainty. He creates them through doing. You see, every time you act in the face of fear, you train your mind to trust you. You send a message deep into your subconscious. I am in charge here. Fear does not dictate my choices. I do. And the subconscious, loyal servant that it is, begins to believe you. It begins to rewire the patterns of your thinking. It builds a new reality, one in which you are capable, unshakable, and prepared for anything. Each act of courage compounds. It strengthens your inner resolve. What once seemed impossible becomes natural. The mountain that once terrified you becomes the hill you conquered last week, and the fearful man of yesterday becomes the fearless leader of today. Understand this. You grow through action, not through wishing, not through waiting, not through hoping, but through deliberate, consistent, courageous action, especially when fear is present. It is in those moments of fear, when your instincts tell you to retreat, that you must stand tall. That is the proving ground. That is where strength is forged. You cannot build muscle without resistance. Likewise, you cannot build courage without challenge. So welcome the fear. It means you are on the edge of growth. It means you are alive, stretching, expanding beyond the old limitations. Do not retreat from it. Run toward it. Use it as your signal to move, not your excuse to freeze. And remember, no man ever became great by staying comfortable. The price of greatness is action under pressure. Action when it's hard. Action when it's scary. Action when no one else is willing to move. You were not put on this earth to cower. You were not born to play small. Within you is the same fire that burned in every great achiever. But that fire will only ignite when you move. When you decide, I will not let fear rule my life. And then take one step forward. Just one. Because the first step is the most powerful of all. It breaks the spell. It shatters the illusion that fear had control. And when that first step is taken, the next one becomes easier, and the one after that easier still. Courage is a habit. It is a muscle. And like all muscles, it grows only when used. The more you confront fear with action, the less control it has over you. Eventually you will begin to look forward to challenge. You will crave the feeling of fear, not because you enjoy discomfort, but because you know it means you are becoming more than you were. Let others talk. Let others plan and hesitate. You are a man or woman of decision. You are a person of movement. You know that life rewards the bold. And so I urge you, whatever it is you've been avoiding, do it. Whatever fear has been holding you back, face it. Not tomorrow, not next week, now. Because every day you delay is another day you give away your power. Take it back with action and watch how your world begins to change. The greatest power known to man is not the power of wealth, nor the power of fame, nor even the power of position. The greatest power is the power that lies within your own mind, specifically your subconscious mind. It is the silent architect of your life. It is the unseen force that governs your habits, decisions, and results. And here is the astonishing truth. Your subconscious mind believes whatever you tell it, over and over again, whether it is true or false. It does not judge. It does not reason. It does not filter or question. It simply accepts and acts on the thoughts that are impressed upon it with repetition and emotion. This is both the danger and the miracle of the subconscious. If you speak to yourself in fear, doubt, and limitation, your subconscious will accept that programming and go to work fulfilling it. It will create patterns of self-sabotage. It will draw you away from success and into failure. Not because you are incapable, but because you told yourself you were. But on the other hand, oh yes, here lies the miracle. If you begin to speak to your subconscious with faith, power, and absolute belief, it will just as faithfully carry out those instructions. It will rewire your habits. It will shift your focus. It will bring people, opportunities, and ideas into your path that align with the story you told it. You are the author of the story your subconscious mind believes. Now, many men go through life completely unaware of this truth. They walk around with beliefs they never chose, beliefs handed to them by parents, teachers, the media, and society. You're not smart enough. You'll never be successful. People like you don't make it. And so they live small, restricted, fearful lives, never realizing that they were hypnotized by someone else's limitations. But the awakened man, the man of purpose, the man who is determined to shape his destiny, he understands that he must become the master of his internal dialogue. He chooses his words with care. He plants thoughts of power, abundance, confidence, and fearlessness in the soil of his subconscious every single day. He knows that just as you cannot grow roses by planting weeds, you cannot grow a life of greatness by feeding your mind with fear. So he speaks life into himself. He affirms his greatness. He repeats, I am capable, I am worthy, I am fearless, I am destined for success. And at first it may feel strange. The old programming may resist. The mind may whisper, that's not true. But remember this, repetition is the key to belief. You do not believe something because it is true. You believe it because you've heard it enough times. And if you want to build new beliefs, you must install them the same way the old ones were installed, by repeating them day after day, hour after hour, with emotion and intent, until your subconscious accepts them as fact. This is how empires are built, not just in the world, but in the mind. You must speak to yourself as the person you are becoming, not the person you've been. You must act as though what you desire is already yours. For the subconscious does not understand someday. It only understands now. Speak it now, believe it now, live it now, and your reality will begin to shift accordingly. You see, the subconscious is not some mystical force. It is a mechanism, a servant. Like a garden, it will grow whatever seed you plant. If you plant fear, you'll reap anxiety. If you plant self-doubt, you will harvest hesitation. But if you plant confidence, resilience, and boldness, you will live a life of power. Guard your mind. It is your most sacred possession. Let no thought of limitation enter without your consent. Reject the lie before it takes root. When a fearful idea appears, replace it with a declaration of strength. I do not fear, I create, I command, I conquer. Say it again and again until it becomes the dominant vibration of your being. Because once the subconscious accepts a new truth, it will move heaven and earth to make it real in your life. It will guide your decisions. It will sharpen your perception. It will lead you to act in ways that match your inner identity. And that, my friend, is where true transformation begins. Not with luck, not with chance, but with intentional thought, repeated belief, and unwavering faith in the power that lives inside you. You are not a victim of circumstance. You are the creator of it. You are not bound by past programming. You are the reprogrammer. And you are not waiting for someone to give you permission. You are the permission. Speak to yourself as the leader you were born to be. Speak to your subconscious as if it were your most loyal employee, because it is. And once it accepts the new vision, it will go to work for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, manifesting that vision into reality. That is not fantasy. That is law. And once you understand this law, once you begin to live by this law, you will never again be the same. Success does not come to the man who waits. It comes to the man who acts as if success were already his. And not just acts, but acts boldly, acts with certainty, acts with the authority of one who knows that the invisible forces of the universe are working in his favor the moment he decides to move forward with conviction. Here is the truth that few dare to fully grasp. Reality bends to the will of bold action. It rearranges itself to accommodate the man who knows what he wants and moves toward it as if it is already done. Life does not respond to hesitation. Life responds to boldness, to movement, to fire, to decision backed by faith and fearlessness. The world is filled with men who dream great dreams, but it is the man who acts on his dream, who walks, speaks, and behaves as though it is already real, who sees it come to life. He does not wait for permission. He does not wait for conditions to be perfect. He begins now, right where he is, with whatever he has. And he allows the act of doing to summon the resources, the people, the opportunities. Action is more than a means to an end. It is a signal. It is the proof to your subconscious mind and to the universe itself that you are serious, that you have claimed what is yours, that you no longer entertain fear or indecision. And when you act boldly, the world begins to treat you differently. People sense the power in your presence. Doors open, circumstances shift, not because you are lucky, but because you are operating on a higher frequency, a frequency of belief, courage, and creative energy. This is not philosophy, it is law. The timid man speaks of ideas, the bold man executes them. The timid man waits for conditions to improve, the bold man improves the conditions by taking command. The timid man asks for advice, the bold man declares, this is what I will do, and then does it. Understand this. Action creates evidence, and evidence reinforces belief. When you take bold steps, you show yourself that you are not who you used to be. You prove to your mind that you are capable of more than it previously thought. That belief, once reinforced by experience, becomes unshakable. And from that unshakable belief flows a new reality. You begin to make decisions differently. You walk with a different posture. You speak with authority. And this is not arrogance, it is alignment. You are aligned with your vision, with your purpose, and with the truth that you are the master of your destiny. Many people talk about changing their lives, but few understand that change begins with identity. And identity is shaped by action, not the other way around. You do not become bold by waiting until you feel bold. You become bold by acting boldly. You do not become confident by waiting to feel confident. You become confident by doing the thing that once made you tremble. Do not make the mistake of waiting for the feeling to come before you move. The feeling follows the motion. The strength follows the struggle. The belief follows the leap. This is why bold action is so powerful. It bypasses the mental chatter, the inner debate, the hesitation, and it sends a loud and clear message. I am in control. And when you live from this place, fear begins to die. Doubt dissolves and clarity appears, because clarity always belongs to the man of action. When you act boldly, you teach the world how to treat you. You are no longer sending signals of uncertainty or weakness. You are saying, through your behavior, I expect greatness. I demand results. I'm not playing small, and the world, being a mirror, reflects that back to you. Now, I urge you to consider, where in your life have you been shrinking? Where have you been waiting instead of acting? What dream, goal, or decision have you been delaying while fear whispers lies in your ear? That delay is costing you momentum. It is costing you confidence. It is costing you time that you will never get back. But you can change that today, this very moment, by making one bold move, one call, one conversation, one leap. And once you take that step, everything else will begin to move. Because boldness is a catalyst. It ignites the fire of progress. It sets the wheel of destiny in motion. This is how all great leaders rise. Not through chance, not through perfection, but through bold, decisive, relentless action, repeated again and again until the man they once imagined becomes the man they are. Do not look at your current circumstances as a limit. Look at them as raw material. The sculptor does not complain about the shape of the stone. He takes his chisel and begins to create. So too must you act. Not later, not someday, now. And not timidly, but with the full weight of your will, as if the thing you desire is already yours. If you have the vision, the desire, the persistence, and the boldness to claim it through action, no force on earth can keep it from you. So act boldly, and let your reality rise to meet your courage.